What do we think about Suitcase-Gate? Where CCTV cameras purport to show workers bringing large suitcases out after sending all the observers away and then diligently doing whatever it is they do. Okay? Investigate this, of course. Definitely. However, bear in mind, I could think of more than one scenario of how Trump could have engineered this stunt to bolster his claims of election fraud, which he began spouting suspiciously early, right before he began destroying the Postal Service. In fact, well before the election. And then there were the state's GOP-led legislatures who decided that all mail-in ballots must be sequestered and have to wait until after all the in-person ballots had been voted, which would mean they'd have to be stored somewhere and kept secure. So, perhaps in a suitcase? And then those votes would be tallied after the in-person votes had been tallied, so that would explain the timeline. So, yes, by the time the large cities had gotten everything together, got all the votes and everything, there was a time delay. Of course there was. Oh, there was a big spike. Well, yeah, because Philadelphia and other large cities are hardly going to vote for the GOP. I mean, your objections can be rationally explained without having to resort to shenanigans. Jeez. Now then, and all these people, all these poll watchers who were talking and talking and talking. Okay. So, I'm sorry, but based upon the results thus far, it's just hearsay. They did not complain to anyone, or if they said they did, they didn't bother to record the time, the date, to whom they were speaking, of whom they were speaking. You know, this person was just sending these things in. Well, who was that person? Did you actually look at the ballot itself and write down the person's name who was allegedly had the ballot, who signed that ballot, that they were running through 10 times? Did you look at it each time before she sent it in through the scanner and record the name? No, you didn't. If it's uncorroborated, it's hearsay, and thus not admissible in a court of law. Did you complain? Did you write down the person's supervisor? Did you write down the supervisor's name? Did you have the date and time and the location and the number of the poll worker or the name of the poll worker? You didn't do anything except focus on your grievance. Hence, Giuliani's dismal performance. Frankly, if I were hiring him, I would fire him based upon this performance. You wonder why Trump's election fraud, lawsuits are going nowhere, getting laughed out of court, getting dismissed with prejudice, meaning never darken our door again with this bullshit. This is why. Because you're presenting hearsay as proof when it isn't proof. If you see something wrong, you investigate it right then and there. Now, as for the signature thing that they're all asking about, okay, now let's look at Georgia's process. Okay? It's in the computer, the way you signed your driver's license. So they compare the signature on your driver's license with the signature on the back of the envelope, if such is mandatory. They compare it, first of all, even before they open it. Okay? If there's a problem with that, set aside. We'll deal with it. Okay? Now, no problem. They open the envelope. They check the signature on the ballot against what the signature in the computer is that you signed with your driver's license. Yes. So, do they match? Fine. Tabulate it. Gone. Done. Okay? So if you see a problem, you stop it right then and there. You get everybody's name, get all the details, and you note them down. And you complain immediately, long and loud. You get a supervisor, and you get the police involved, and the whole 9 yards, okay? Did they do that? Obviously not. Asking about, were you trained for this? Duh. Yeah, they were. Were you trained on how the procedure works? Were you trained before you signed up as a poll watcher? No, you probably weren't. You were told to cover fraud. One, the signatures have to match. If the signatures match precisely, it's a fraud. How do you think they prove frauds? With stockbrokers and so forth. You could hold a piece of paper up to the window and trace the signature so it matches precisely. Yes, you could run it through a copying machine. It'll match precisely. That's how they know they're fake. Sorry. But no one signs their name precisely the same all the time throughout their entire life. It just doesn't happen. So, people who decide whether a signature is fake or not are actually trained in how to recognize a fake. Really? Okay. So, now, how about instead of leaping to the bait, like hungry, angry trout, we sit down and we start thinking forensically, like a police person who doesn't believe a goddamn thing unless it's corroborated. Corroboration is a wonderful thing. If you have it, you have evidence. If you don't, you have hearsay. So, let's investigate this and see what happens. Okay? Okay. I hope this helps. Thank you for watching, and please do come again. Democrats aren't all that evil, silly. Consider Trump. Really?